everybody. I wrote this today because I just felt it needs to be addressed, and this is an attempt to maybe just look at the madness in the world without going crazy and without being manipulated or caught into psyops and stuff. So here we go. The Reckoning number 2. The files about the sick, perverted elephant in the room, and not in a good way. The key to love in life is to go out and to be love. Love fiercely without compromise. Love tenderly so you become love. After all, our world needs you and it needs love. To end on. Even the best of the old doesn't touch what's trying to happen. Kyle sees. It needs to be addressed. There's no easy way to put it, and there are many layers and levels of the madness. And it's not just about the list and how this or that sick thing the people on it did with their no connection to their hearts. People who have quite literally sold their souls to the devil. It's not about what they did or did not do. There's more than enough of that floating around. If you don't have a good stomach for it, I would urge caution in sifting through these. And there are psyops upon psyops to create distraction and delusion and get people caught in the creating more negativity and disempowerment. And we have to be aware of all that. And this real pain and real trauma that's asking to be seen and addressed and for justice to be served. And that might require the fall of this or that false king, the fall of many of the false prophets, and quite possibly the restructuring of the entire social order, which will not be pretty. As the guilty do what they can to escape, and the handlers and makers of deceit scramble to save face and pretend like nothing's going on. But it will happen nevertheless, simply because if it does not, the furies will be released, and that would be a much harsher way of dealing with things. So what can we do to stay sane or at least keep a sense of sanity in this madness? That's $1 million question, but we can start close in. With the pale ground beneath your feet, the small, honest, and often difficult step. As the Celtic mystic David White urges us to start with the ground we know and to not take the second step or the next. I can't tell you what that step might be for you. It all depends. It might be doing nothing for a very long time and first gather yourself to be able to respond rather than react. It might be risking it all and doing what's right, taking legal action, even risking the wrath of powers that were, in the name of justice and all that is good, and a simple realization that some things are just unforgivable, if we still want to call ourselves civilized. It may be supporting the victims, not just as a gesture, but as a long-term project. Trauma does not heal by grand gesture, it heals by gentle, healing, loving, patient presence, offered with no agenda but to be there and provide space. It might actually be sipping through the files and presenting the case to the world in a way that's helpful, and thus more than feed a sick curiosity and self-righteousness, for that is often the greatest obstacle of actual true justice. It might be many a thing, but one thing it's surely not. One thing it's surely not is allowing things to go on as business as usual. And as much as we can get lost in this or that theoretical framework for the sake of rotten mind candy, we do need a clear perspective that explains what is/has been happening systematically in a way where the seed is exposed, truth comes out in a way that's empowering and actionable, and brings justice, healing, and a restructuring of what is rotten. I don't know how we're going to go about it, but I know I'm going to have to look at my own shadows and sit with those. And sit with my demons by the fire and offer them tea and coffee and cacao. And come to a place where I can be more than a dysregulated mad prophet screaming in the void, hoping that that will somehow make a difference. It won't. A king would address things more wisely. A real prophet to speak in a way that empowers, builds strength, faith, and love. The wise man who sits in communion with God would, by his very presence, ease the suffering, calm the storms, and ensure divine justice ensues without him even saying the word. I pray we find those. I pray we become those. I pray I will find a way to live through 2026 and all the revelations and release and the madness in a way that truly serves God and humanity, keeps me accountable, and also to be able to become a gentle guardian of my sacred, vulnerable self. Just be a cute little elf. I pray you find your ways to find your ways. and find the way to the best of days, no matter which way the madness at hand chooses to stray. Love you all. Stay grounded, stay loving, and find your own way.